Hello everybody, how we doing this fine evening? What's going on, cool gamer? How you doing today? Just waiting for people to get in so I can say hi to everybody. Samuel Campbell, what's going on, brother? From another mother. I'm waiting for Queen of Hearts to show up. Happy birthday. So today we're going to discuss one of the symptoms I struggle with is bipolar disorder. And that's one of my struggles. And I'm just waiting for everybody to jump in so I can start discussing it. It's been a long day today, cooking and everything. Hey, okay, I got you. So, one of my subs, Brooke, gave me a recipe called Mississippi Mud Roast. And I will tell you, that was actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting it. Came out amazing. It had a little kick to it. Other than that, it came out. It tasted, yeah. You know, you put that Bon Appetit in front of it. I can't wait until it's time to move. I'm looking forward to moving south, back to where I'm from, the south. I'm wondering if people are getting their notifications. That's what I'm wondering. If you got your notification, comment in chat letting me know you got your notification. Waiting for tonight on My Favorite Person, allegedly with Brittany J. She'll be going over the Rachel Morin press release. That's going to be a good live also over there at I believe she posted it for 8:30 tonight, 8:45, somewhere around that time frame. That's going to be an amazing live also. So you guys don't want to miss that. Allegedly with Brittany J. She's the reason why I decided to talk about mental health and try to reach out to people in the community. You know, we don't take mental health as serious as we should. I'm thinking about starting a Patreon eventually, the next month or so, where we can get in more depth of mental health instead of having to speak calmly about mental health. Because here on these platforms, we got to be very careful on what we talk about, how we talk about it, which is tough because there's a lot of things about mental health that is serious. And there's a lot of things, that if we can reach the right people, we might be able to get things changed where, you know, if you have a rough patch in life and you go and get the help you deserve and you need, you don't have that stigma that follows you for the rest of your life. Is chat frozen? Let me see your chat. Okay, it's not frozen. Okay. Hello, Rep Mom. How you doing? So, it's just been a long, stressful week for me. Finding out that I'm going to have my ankle operated on. When that happens, I'm going to be down. So that's going to be miserable. When you have to have surgery and you can't do nothing except sit around and twiddle your thumbs. Hopefully I can get it comfortable enough to where I can still go live. Hopefully I get a wheelchair and I can just prop my leg up and, live stream. And be comfortable doing it. Few more minutes and then my panel guest will be up and we'll be discussing whatever she wants is on her mind and what she wants to talk about. See, here on this podcast, it's called Let's Talk. So usually what I try to do is get a guest up and we talk about what they've gone through and how they've overcame their situations. Because I shared my story. Yes, that is so true. And to be honest with you, Rep Mom, depression is if it wasn't for Brittany, okay, getting me wanting to do this whole podcast or this YouTube channel and talk about mental health, I'd probably be in bed miserable. But because I schedule lives, it gets me motivated, it gets me energized to want to reach out to people and talk to them and not be in my domain cut off from the world. Yeah, can I hear you guys talk to me? No, but you guys can hear me talk to you, and I feel that I can feel the energy from you guys as I'm talking to you. That's the reason why I like having panel guests, so we can bounce each other's energy off each other and communicate and get an understanding because everybody's thought process is different. The way I understand mental health is different than the way somebody else understands mental health. When I'm depressed, how I feel is different than how somebody else feels. So do I take pride in trying to help people? Oh, yes. I try to reach out to people and talk to people. I'm working on getting a business phone so I can put my number out there for people who need help, so they can call me if they're on that ledge. Because they give you out a hotline number. Man, who wants to talk to somebody that's never been there and done that? Who wants to talk to somebody who hasn't experienced real life issues? I surely as hell don't want to talk to somebody that hasn't experience real life situations. I'd rather have somebody talk me off the ledge that has been there and done that and experienced it. That's who I want to talk me off of a ledge. Not somebody, that they get paid, hourly to sit there and wait for a phone call. I want to call somebody that's not getting paid to answer my phone call and say, hey, I'm in a rough place and I need help. And I'm going to listen. And then if I can relate, I'm going to give advice. That's what I think when you go see a therapist or a psychologist. I agree. I have a realistic view. And I think a clinical view and a realistic view should be blended together, in my opinion. And the reason why I say this is just because you're, like they say in the real world, if you book smart, you can't survive in the streets. But if you street smart, you're not going to survive with the books. But if you have both, you can survive in the real world. That's how I've always been taught. So I have both. I have book smarts and street smarts. And I think that should be the way it is with mental health. If you have real life experience plus you have the education, they would make the perfect therapist or the perfect psychologist or the perfect psychiatrist. Yes, that's when we get into the whole yes, because you don't want a therapist pushing your views on them, which I agree. Okay, it's just, a book says one thing. It's just, that's why I tell people there's facilities that you could go to and ask for help. I'm just showing, expressing from experience. I would like to talk to somebody that has, real life. But you're not going to always get that. And sometimes you need somebody that's just a clinical view. You're correct, Sam. You're correct. I'm just waiting for the Queen of Hearts. She should be almost ready. Okay, I am going to send you the link. How we doing, clumsy clairvoyants? It's good to see you over here. Hopefully the link works for you, Queen of Hearts. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I wish I would have known that. I'd have been blowing his phone number up every day. I would I would have been calling, yo, LL, man, you are a very big celebrity. You need to get these health clinics back open. Hello, Athena. How you doing? Yeah, I wish I would have seen that. I would have had that phone number on speed dial sometimes. Because when my therapist's office was closed down, it was a struggle. And you know, LL Cool J's past, where he came from, he understands because of his experience. Yeah, he's famous. He's a multi-millionaire, but he wasn't originally. Did the link work, Queen of Hearts? How's your day going so far, Athena? Oh, we got Queen of Hearts in the house. You're muted. Can you hear me? Do you know how to do your audio settings? If you need help with anything, let me know and I could guide you through it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. There's always that. That's always the best thing to happen today.
Yes, there's always technical difficulties in this technology world.
That's right. And um I was late because we have not had an air conditioner for 3 weeks, and
Ooh, and where you located down south?
I'm in Washington State, central Washington State.
Oh, you're
Uh,
way out
it's the
west.
desert. It's the desert, and it's been 104 degrees every day.
Oh
And
man.
it's miserable, but we just got it serviced today, so all of that got turned back on. So of course I forgot to charge my phones and my battery packs and my headphones, and
I
it's
can
like,
see
well,
why, because you didn't want it to overheat.
yeah, I it's just been it's been horrible.
Look who's in
But
the house, Alma Carrera.
and I'll be back in my room soon, so then I'll be able to read the chat and not mess up the TV and the other phone. So that'll be
So,
better.
yeah, that's fine.
So hi everybody in chat. I don't know who's here, but I love you anyway.
So, we were
So
talking
Homer.
yesterday about PTSD.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, when I had Rogue Knox up here and then I had Sassy come up.
Yep.
Okay, so
And
what are
it seems to me like PTSD is something that um
you still there? She's moving from one device to the other, probably. What's going on, Snuffy 8773? What type of plant is that for your picture? Is that a poinsettia? Just asking. I can't see it too well. How's your day going, Alma Carrera? You having a good day? PJ's in the house. Just waiting for Queen of Hearts to get everything set up so we can get this conversation rolling. So, I got questions for people in chat. Okay. Who in here struggles with something? Who in here would like to see me do lives where I break down the symptoms of PTSD and bipolar and manic and all these type of depressions, like symptoms, and understanding them? I love you too, Sam. ah, Making me laugh so hard, bro. No, but serious, like, would you guys like me to do a live where I just talk about different symptoms and okay, all right, so I will do that. Okay, I'm bringing her back up.
Oh, I know what happened. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. I
Okay.
was trying to figure out what happened besides all of the interference. Okay, so
Let me ask Al.
you can still
Let me say
hear
something to
me.
Alma Carrera. Yeah, I can hear you. Alma, um, when you get a chance, you're in Discord.
Okay,
Okay. Can you
go
message me
ahead.
in Discord on what your son struggles with? And then I will do a whole presentation on those symptoms so you can get a better understanding, okay, Alma? All right. You're good, Queen of Hearts. Sorry. You still there, Queen? We're having technical difficulties. Can she hear me? That's the question. Sprinkles and frosting. How are you today? Did you fall off, Queen of Hearts? Are you having technical difficulties? See, I was debating on whether, like, one live I do the Let's Talk, bring somebody on panel. My other live, I do a presentation of different types of mental illnesses
All
people
right.
struggle. Okay, you're there. I
Um,
can hear you.
so can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
You can still hear me. I'm
Oh, you're having technical difficulties. She keeps breaking up. Okay, so what I'll do, Queen, is I'll bring you off, and then if you can get everything situated and up and running, okay, she went off. And then once you get everything up and running and working properly, if you want to come back up, just let me know. So, is there anybody else in here that wants to come up? I'll post a link. Alma, do you want to come up? We can have a little discussion. It's up to you, young lady. If you're still in the house, you probably are. You're probably just sitting there chilling, getting ready for work, or at work, or just getting out of work, because you're a very busy woman. Who wants to come up? I do not know who Snuffy is. I think that might be somebody I know. Maybe. What's going on, Dave Gammon? I'm trying to get people up to share their story. Okay, let me add her. You there?
I'm here.
All right, now you're good.
Okay. I had to go get my other phone.
You
So
sound crystal clear.
yeah, it's because this one didn't have an alarm going every 5 minutes to remind me that it was going to be stream time. So you know how that works.
Yeah.
So it just kept going off, and I couldn't turn it off. It was just annoying.
So, what
So
would you like to
now,
discuss?
okay, I what I was going to say about PTSD is that when COVID hit, regarding COVID and PTSD, and the um, College of YouTube University, because I get the student discounts everywhere I go because I tell everybody I am still a student, because I for sure am still a student. I am learning about myself every day, and I when COVID hit, I was working in an Asian restaurant in this little tiny town. Only one Asian restaurant. And when COVID hit, they they had to start slowing down the shifts. Um, so my shift got eliminated. Basically, it was just the owners that were working, and then the town started to attack them. Started to blame them for COVID.
Oh my God.
And they ended up shutting that place down and never to reopen. But within 1 week of that, my roommate that I had just moved into this place with, he went up and moved and didn't even tell us if he was coming back or anything. So I had all of these payments by myself, and then I didn't have to pay rent because our governor had the thing where you can't evict someone during COVID. And then my dad died,
Oh man.
and I was I was stuck, but I didn't want to see anyone, and it affected me during COVID because people started getting sick before the end of the year. It wasn't just at the beginning of the year that COVID started going around, in my belief. But my dad was sick, and I moved here specifically because I was only 20 minutes away from him, and I didn't even get to see him but once. in a year.
Oh my God.
And then he just one morning, I mean, he was doing fine. One morning, he just fell out of his chair, and it was just my stepmom and him sitting at the breakfast table. And sorry,
It's okay.
I wish I was the kind of person that could talk and not sound all like Minnie Mouse and all that, but
Did you hear my first live?
yes, I did. I heard.
Emotion,
Yep.
emotions are strong. That's understandable. As long as you're in touch with your feelings, which is nothing wrong with being in touch with your feelings.
Yeah. Well, when he died, he said, my stepmom said that he was saying something and she couldn't hear him, and she got closer to him, and he said, "I'm so sorry," and she didn't know what he was apologizing for. And he didn't die right away, but they didn't tell him that tell her that he was gone anyway. But we couldn't gather together because of quarantine. I grew up in a religious cult and had very, very law abiding parents. This is my stepmom and my dad. And my stepmom didn't know what had just killed her husband, but she had heard of COVID for sure. And now they're saying you gotta quarantine, and if you go over there, you're going to be stuck there at the ranch for 10 days. And I could do that because I wasn't working, and I just wanted to sorry, be there by my dad's stuff
I
and
would
go
too.
and
I would
go
too.
make sure that his sheep were okay, and
Well,
go
see,
walk.
Dad was a farmer.
He was an electrician, but um he retired and bought a ranch, and he started um, just raising a little. He had built a vineyard because he made wine. He was doing everything that he ever wanted to do. That he had worked so hard so that he could do it. And he always encouraged us kids, as soon as you can retire, the minute you can retire, do it. It's worth it. It's worth every penny.
Instead
Work
of working
really
yourself to the
hard.
bone.
You work really hard until you can stop. And as soon as you can stop, then stop by all means. So you give yourself time to do all the things you want to do and you love to do.
And
So
that's
he
what he
was
did,
living
right?
his best life. And we walked around that ranch and saw all of the new inventions. And there were 6 of us original kids, and then we got 4 stepkids, and I was the baby of 10. And um, so I was at home the longest, and I knew some of these inventions that my dad had made, and the other kids, they all flew in, and I got to explain what what he was thinking when he made this contraption, because he had told me about it. Or I knew that he had this problem with little moles, and it was pretty entertaining to him that he had a big like 1 pound bucket of bazooka bubble gum, and anytime the grandkids would come over, he'd have them all start chewing gum and then put it all in a little bowl, because the chewed up gum he would drop down into the mole holes, and then they would eat it and they wouldn't be able to pass it, and then they would die. That was one of his things.
Oh my
But
word.
he was a great man. He was a patriarch, and I I have I have qualified pretty much, sadly, but necessarily, I've qualified men into two categories: men who have hurt me and men who have never hurt me. And as long as you can be one of the guys that never hurt me, you're, you know, I'm your solid friends forever. And my dad never hurt me, never. And he raised really good sons, and my brothers are like that too. And when we lost him, and we couldn't have a memorial at all for him, none of us felt any kind of closure, and everybody was just grasping onto the things that they got of my dad's. And the ripped up flannel shirt, and the all the pictures and everything. And when we got to have the funeral, this a week and a half ago, it was amazingly freeing. We were back to ourselves again, and we were joking like Dad did, and telling the stories about the water fights and him being the one running into the house with the hose chasing us, and my stepmom screaming at him. And it was that that grief. I did not think I could get past it. And just a year after he died, and my brother had been in jail, and he got out of jail, and 4 days later he got a hold of a blue pill, and he died from fentanyl.
Oh my God.
And that brother was, it sounds weird to say that he was my soulmate, but he was my soulmate. And we lived, opposite sides of the country at times, but we weren't really ourselves around anybody but the two of us. And we edified each other. He would show me all of the words that they were misspelling in the newspaper, and we would laugh about that. And I didn't think that there's any way that I I knew who I was. I am nothing without my dad and my brother telling me who I am, because they made me feel loved. And I didn't really feel like that with anybody else except my kids. And so I used the COVID time to study some more psychology. I was an English and psychology major. So I just kept studying, but this time I was studying myself. And I had never been to counseling. And I liked how you said it in your first live stream, that someone took your dignity very young. And someone took mine very young too. And I didn't know if that was why I was the way that I was, why I reacted to divorcing an abusive man after 20 years and 5 kids. And then all
I'm
of a sudden I was
surprised.
a kid again. And I went back to my hometown. Now I had a chance to start over at 18, but I wasn't 18. It was 20 years later. Start over, getting out of my dad's house in my hometown. And I partied like I was 19, and my kids were 18 and 15. And they're like, excuse me, Mom, you used to be the women's ministry coordinator. Uh, You know,
You
you're
you
like,
probably did all that to save face
I
because
know.
you didn't
I
want people to know what you were going through.
Well, no, I was in when I was in Texas. Um, I was I was definitely hiding that my husband was abusive, and no one knew that. No one knew he was abusive because every time they start to get awkward, just being like abusive narcissistic people are pretty awkward and self-centered. And I would try to explain his jokes to my family, and I'm like, "Oh no, but he's so good to us, he's so good to us." And no, he wasn't. I was lying about that, and I didn't mean to. But when um, I had been staying home with my kids for 13 years, and when I went out into the workforce, I was 365 pounds, 5 kids later. And that childhood trauma had mm, had given me the early childhood clues to eat, and by eating I could keep him away from me. And if I could just keep him from abusing me, then I would be safe. And um, he he didn't let that stop him by any means. But the the I have one brother that abused me when I was 3, and he saw me when I was about 10, and he said, "Oh, Charnel, you keep gaining weight. Those boys aren't going to be chasing you." And that was my ticket right there. And I made that connection, and I had a weight problem ever since then. And so when I went out into the workforce, I had studied into different weight loss surgeries, and there was one that was experimental in Dallas, and I went to counseling for that and found out that I could see that I wasn't gonna keep putting up with the abuse, and I was gonna end up walking away. And I needed to do that for my kids because I have 3 girls, and I didn't want them to grow up thinking it was okay to just take it, because all of us did. We we all He abused all of us in different ways. And I'm always that person that wants to change them. And I think, wow, I'm being really unfairly treated right here. Eventually someone will notice that, and if no one notices it, then God notices it. So as long as I don't start being a dick, then i I think I'm going to be okay. Well, it doesn't work like that. I never learned how to stand up for myself, because very, very early on, I learned that if you stand up for yourself, then what the abuser says about no one's going to believe you, no one's going to love you, um, you're going to get in more trouble, the family's going to break up, mom is going to hate you, all of that stuff did come true. All of it came true. So, and anytime I tried to stand up against my ex husband, he would say, you're going to get it when we get home. And it was true every time, every single time. And so I learned not to stand up for myself.
So
And
my question is, and I always ask that question, and I'm wondering if it's the same story. did you stay because of the kids?
Yes.
Or and now my other question is, did you stay because he kept promising to change?
No,
Okay.
he did not ever, not ever once did he ever apologize for beating me. Not once. He one time
God rest your soul. Lucky you're still alive.
he was pushing me, and he pushed me out into the backyard, and my oldest daughter, she's 33 now. She was 2, and she was sitting in a high chair, and we had just had a tornado that ripped through our neighborhood, outside of Dallas, and there was still glass stuck into the wall where the glass had imploded. But and we were cleaning it up, but my daughter was in a high chair, and he was pushing me out into the backyard, and he picked up a lead pipe and just cracked me right over the top of the head with it. And I had my body responded. I was screaming, just continuous screaming. I could not make myself stop. He couldn't make me stop. I couldn't stop. There was a bell had been rung. There was something definitely happened, because I couldn't stop screaming for probably 45 minutes. But he he coaxed me back into the house and made me sit down, and I found out once I was done screaming and I realized where I was, and I went to get my daughter. She had pulled a piece of glass out of the wall, and she was cutting her wrist with it. And I don't, she'd never seen anything like that before. She'd never heard of anything like that before. She was a baby. But
Wow.
I knew, I mean, that right there, I should have realized a normal person that expected sometimes there are bad husbands, sometimes there are bad people you come across. But I didn't have that. I had a really good dad. He was a really good husband. And I didn't know that men could be like that. But if I had seen that that's how it could affect all of the kids that I had with him, in some way it was going to affect them. I should have left right then. But I didn't see the signs. But he said, "Well, I thought you would block it. You're pretty stupid, aren't you?" And
Wow.
that was the kind of thing that I got every time. Every time he did it. And I only stayed because of the kids. And until I couldn't do it anymore. And he told me he was going to hunt me down and kill me if I didn't leave Texas. So I left Texas. I just didn't expect any of the kids to want to stay in Texas, because why would you want to stay in Texas? Honestly, why? I don't know why.
Are they still in Texas?
I have 3 that are in Texas, and I have one in Kentucky and one here in Washington.
And do they all still stay in contact with their, you know
With it,
who?
yeah, yeah,
Oh
they
my lord.
do. And I was very careful, because I I knew growing up that when the mom just keeps talking bad about the dad, it's it's horrible. It's a horrible situation. I was not going to do that. I figured, like I always do, as long as I don't do it, then I can only speak for me. And so then I end up, putting up with way too much. But I went to see my kids, um, when my son got his first townhouse in Dallas, and I said, I know you love your dad, and I'm not going to say anything bad about him. And he said, "Are you kidding me? Mom, I do not love my dad. I have never loved my dad. I respect my dad, so I will talk to him, but I don't want to talk to him, and I don't like him at all. I just respect him, and I certainly don't love him. If he had been there when I ended up calling the cops and letting them actually show up and pick him up, my ex-husband, if he had been there, he said I had been waiting for that day from the time that I turned 16. That is all I wanted in life. I wanted to see him coming at any of you, and I believe that I'm big enough and I could have taken him down, and that's what I wanted. That was like his whole goal in life, was to be exactly the opposite of his dad.
You, you,
And
you, you and Soul Shine for Jesus Christ have both been through abusive relationships.
yeah, it's really um it's really easy for other people to see, and for other people to say, no, you can get out easily. Just go to any shelter, they'll help you.
It's not that easy.
uh
It's
no, it's
not that
not.
easy.
Getting help is not
Fear,
easy.
fear, fear is what drives you from leaving. Fear. It
And
don't matter if you're
yeah, the
male or female.
confirmation,
Yes,
the
because my,
confirmation of threats, when they say it's going to happen and it happens, that's what's going to happen every time. That's PTSD. Everybody has PTSD.
yep,
I have an example that I formulated from what I learned from the um, the book called "The Body Keeps the Score." It's a very, very good book, and he has YouTube seminars, lectures, and stuff too. He's really
yep.
good. Um, but basically, I see it like this. Let's let's have this example where um, a mom is standing at the kitchen window, looking out over the backyard, and you go out to play, and you can see your mom. Your mom can see you, and a big dog runs up and bites you and has a hold of your leg. And what does your mom do? She runs out there and immediately, and she swoops you up and she carries you to safety. And what is she saying when she's doing that? That surprised her. She didn't know that was coming. You didn't know that was coming. You're gonna be okay. I love you. I can fix this for you. I'm gonna make it better. And you know that she had your back all along. And so you can get over that. You may have a little fear of dogs, you know, but you didn't have any question in your mind that your mom loved you before, loved you when it happened, and loves you after. That is trauma that doesn't cause PTSD as much as this example. So you and your brother get home from school, and your brother only wants to play on the insert gaming system of your decade, and he says, you have to go outside. You can't have a snack. You go outside. I'm going to play. And he pushes you out the door and he locks the door. And a big dog runs up. and grabs you by the leg and is shaking you around, and you're bleeding and you're screaming and you're looking for who who is going to help you. Your brother is got his headphones in. He's playing on in his there's nobody watching you. There's no one witnessing this happen. And you so if you do, you get away and get into the house, and what would that brother say? If you were the big brother, what would that big brother say? He would say, "You better not tell mom. You go wash that, go clean that up, throw those clothes away. You better not tell mom. I'm going to beat the hell out of you if you tell mom. If I get in trouble for this, you are going to get it." And that threat means you will get it. Okay. He didn't love you before it happened. He didn't even notice when it happened. He didn't swoop you up and tell you that it was going to be okay. In fact, he told you that you were going to get beat if you said anything about it. So now you've got a secret, and it's all your fault, and your brother can use that against you. And he probably like kicks you under the table right where he knows that dog bit. And he's always watching you like, "Oh, you better not tell mom." You had no help. There's going to be PTSD on a lot of different levels. Everybody has PTSD, but what we can do to help people is to go back, even if you have never been through what they're going through. If you can get them to talk about it, then you're there to listen. It helps if you can guide them back to that place of before. Like, what was happening? Where was the person that was supposed to be watching you? And it's okay to say there was no one there for you. You didn't have anybody come get that scared little kid. You needed somebody to comfort you right then and take care of you and tell you that everything was going to be okay, and you didn't have anybody. It's no wonder it still hurts you.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is really getting down into their deep pain. But if you're a spouse that has a if your husband or wife has some deep trauma like that, it's never going to make it better to say, "Just get over it, stop talking about it. It's over now. Why are you still going on? Why are you still so mad at your brother that you don't want to go to the same reunion as him? I mean, come on." "Well, I wouldn't want to go to a reunion with him." It and if there's a lot of different factors in what continues the trauma, but
Oh, there is. There
to,
is.
to make sure that you are a safe place for other people, when so that they trust you. If someone trusts you, if a child trusts you, and they know that you love them, and something hurts them, if they come to you, they know that you would swoop them up, and you would tell them, "I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. Let me make sure that this does not happen to you again. I love you. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to get it taken care of." And don't be one of those people that say that if a child comes to you and they say, "That guy at church keeps touching me, and I don't want him to touch me anymore." You go up and confront the guy. "Are you touching her?" "No." What a little liar. that's ridiculous. And then his buddies come around and, yeah, I hated that kid anyway. She should never have been in our class. What now? What kind of trauma has just happened? Because you're going to end up seeing those people again.
And on top of that, there's a thing called "Boy Cried Wolf."
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you say something happened, usually 9 times out of 10, common sense says a child is innocent. Children don't lie. Okay, but we've seen over time where children can be, how do I say, what's that word I'm looking for? Where
Deceptive.
no, where they can
Oh.
coach a child to
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now it makes it hard for them to believe children
Right.
because, especially depending on who the parent is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
now
Yeah. There's all kinds of,
manipulation,
you know,
yes, manipulative. Okay, yes,
being if you are a person that is uh, I know that's not called a first responder, like the first reporter or something. If a child tells you something, you have to do something about it, like teachers and nurses, and if you're in a responsible position, that you have to
that's
report it.
why what gets me is when Brit when we were covering the case of the talking about the teachers, right? Remember the four kids and the mother that was taken out at their own home on the property, and then he was a registered SA
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
SO.
yeah. Just
Okay,
recently.
yes.
Yeah.
And one of the kids went to the teachers telling them what was going on, and the teachers did nothing.
Yeah.
That right there is a perfect example of why
Yeah. And
I lost faith in the school system
yep.
because I've seen a lot of kids go to the school system and then all of a sudden they go to the parents and then you never hear or see that kid again.
Right. Yeah. And the guy that shot the neighbor family, and then the guy that had been looking at the kids out the window, he walked over and shot the whole family. And then just
See,
sat there, waited for the police, because he told them if he does that again, I'm not waiting for the cops this time. You know, and all the school had known all about that too. But that's a whole can of
that's a,
worms kind of
yes,
thing.
yes,
But
yes.
I mean, you personally, like, I am absolutely a hermit since COVID. Um, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and they know something about me. They know I adore every single gut that they have. I mean, they come running, and I would do anything for any of those kids. And I've never met an age of a child that I don't like. I even like middle school. I even worked in a middle school. Parents don't even like middle schoolers, and
So
teachers don't like
do
middle
you work?
schoolers.
Do you work with kids now?
No, I'm a hermit in a little tiny town. I live with my best friend just until I can move. But I
You ever thought
have
about?
I have
You ever
eight
thought
grand
about?
I have 8 grandkids.
You ever thought about working with kids?
Oh yeah, I've worked with kids all my life, but I'm done with that now. I'm I My body has given into itself. It's
Oh, the retirement.
No, it's just breaking. I was just diagnosed with cancer last week.
Oh, God rest. We'll
I'll
pray
be all
for
right.
you. You'll
I'll
be all
I'll
right.
be all right. I Hey, I'm
Did they
54. I'm
did they catch it in
54.
time?
I don't need a uterus. I'm 54. I even forgot that I had a uterus. I don't need one. They can have it.
Oh, it's funny
If
how
they
you said
want it
that.
that bad,
I'm not laughing at the fact that you got cancer. It's just a
no,
statement you made. You were like,
I
I
know.
didn't even know I had one.
I kind of feel like I'm cheating because I know my neighbors were Catholic, and my neighbor's dad used to say, "I'm giving up cigars for Lent." And I was like, "Mr. Fitzgerald, you don't smoke cigars." And he's like, "I know. It's really easy." Okay.
Oh my
I'm
word!
I'm giving up planting roses this Lent. You hate roses. I know. It's gonna be really easy. Oh, I don't need my uterus. I had 5 kids. I doubt that I would start feeling peppy and fertile again.
Oh
Yeah,
my god!
I'm leaving it up to my kids to have kids.
It,
My
it,
middle daughter has is gonna have my second grandson, her fifth child, at the end of October. So I'm having lots of grandkids, but I love kids, and all kids know that I am their safe spot. I am any kid that has ever had a problem. I mean, I have I have 9 other siblings. So if you can imagine, each of us have had at least 5 children.
Jeez.
I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and
At
they
least does
love
your
me.
family have a gathering?
We do.
That's
Um,
awesome.
just the surviving siblings and I get together once a year and spend like 4 or 5 days together.
And it's all the cousins and nieces and
No,
nephews.
this we do that later, but we just the 5 of us. Um,
So there's 5 out of 10 left.
there was an original 6, and then my dad married my stepmom, and she had 4. So we were all raised together since I was 6 years old. But just the original family clan,
Okay. All right.
we get together and we do like an Airbnb thing, and we just
Hang out
we're
and
just
just.
totally irresponsible, and we don't text our significant others, and we forget to take pictures when we're doing stuff because we can't quit doing stuff. We just have so much fun. And we rent a cat like a uh, um you know words are so hard. um
You rent a cabin or
oh
you
my
rent
god.
a
Yeah.
punt, a boat.
Yeah, but we rent a car that has no top. What is that called?
Oh, convertible.
Convertible. Oh my god, I started it with the C, but I couldn't. I forgot the word in the middle of the word. um we we have a convertible, and we meet in the summer, and as soon as they pick me up, because I'm the baby, as soon as I get in, we're saying breaking the law, breaking the law. We're just driving all over town, and you know, eating ice cream and drinking beer at the park, and it's just
Doing things that people in your at at those ages wouldn't do anymore.
yeah. It's we didn't get to grow up as adults together. I mean, that's kind of hard to do when everybody moves across country and gets married and stuff.
Yeah.
We get together like 5 best friends from high school or something, and we just act like that. We just have way too much fun. We don't break the law because, well, one of my brothers is the sheriff. So, but we meet in a different state. So we could technically. No, we don't break the law because my mom's still alive. But and she would catch us. She would find out. We're good. We're good kids, but we just have like the best time, and and we re, we remember things so differently because my oldest brother is 11 years older than me. So when
Did your
when
siblings get this idea from the movie Grumpy Old Men?
no,
Where the
no,
old people get together and they just act crazy?
no, but I mean, we all had it in us. We did all have it in us. We knew. One of my
It's
brothers still
yeah.
tries to work. He's still like, no, but I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, and so I'm not going to be able to stay awake until 4 today. Okay, don't. You don't have to play. When it's your turn, if you don't wake up when we shake you, you don't have to take your turn. It's okay. Jeff, 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 taking off his shoes, doing all kinds of creepy things together. It's just fun. But we don't want a year to go by without getting together because we do have so many of the same memories but from different perspectives,
Yeah.
and we get to talk about those things. We had we had just like Sassy the other night, there was a shooter in her that someone had
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
family. Yeah, there was a guy that was um he came into our neighborhood when I was 3, and he came in with a machete, and they were police were driving around our cul-de-sac, and all the other siblings were looking out the front window, and my next oldest brother and me were looking out the back window, and that guy was crouched down with the machete, stabbing it into the ground under our bush in the backyard. We saw that. Nobody else believes us. We can't get any confirmation that that happened, but it did. It was.
Wow.
Have you ever seen the movies that it's called the Trilogy of Terror?
No, I don't watch horror movies.
Oh, it was in the 70s, and I only saw one, so it was still called the Trilogy of Terror, even though there was only one that I saw. But there's a lady that brings home a tiki doll from Hawaii.
All right, that's scary enough as it is right there.
Yeah,
That's a
okay.
voodoo doll.
Yeah, I
Nope. I don't
I
play with
don't
that stuff.
I still don't get why people decorate in tiki things. I learned my lesson from the Brady Bunch. I am not doing that.
Well, it's one thing is if you're Hawaiian or Samoan, that's one thing because that's your heritage.
Right.
Okay, but if you don't understand it, you should not mess with anything you don't understand.
No, I thought that was the day that the Brady Bunch turned into my favorite after school special because they taught me you don't take things from Hawaii because there's such a thing as a curse. And I sure know about curses, so I don't need that. But that end of that movie, for people that do like terror things, that's exactly what we saw in our backyard. So it's just interesting seeing the different perspective. For me, it seems like some of the houses that we lived in for years, and some of them, it, it was like 9 months.
Yeah, I think the longest place I've ever lived in, to be honest, is where I live now. The complex I live in now. Um, I, I've been like so I've been in situations like I lived with my grandmother for 5 years. I was very close to her before she
Hmm.
passed away, which was very rough for me.
Oh yeah.
Um, like I met her when I was 24, 23. I had just turned 23 before I went back to Florida.
Hmm.
Um, Last time I had seen her, I was 4. And I have vague memories of my 4 year old, my
Your
at 4 years
4-year-old
old.
self. Yeah.
Yes, I have vague memories. So, like, I hadn't seen my dad's side of the family since I was 4. Like, when I was 18, I talked to him, like my uncle and stuff like that. I stayed in contact with him. And then what was wild, and uh, I moved back to Florida. I was staying at my godparents' house. I don't know what my life would have been without my godparents.
Hmm.
But they, yeah, I didn't have the greatest life growing up. I'll tell you that. I've been
Yeah.
homeless. I've been homeless, slept on picnic tables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As a child, my mom was a single parent. It was a struggle being a single mother, even back then. You know, it's still a struggle being a single parent today.
Yeah.
That
And
that's
I have a question for you about that in just a second. I want you to still continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah. So then my mom got a job as she has always been a CNA. She was a CNA for 30 years, and I wish, which are now LNAs, I wish they would have they got paid more. In my honest opinion, I wish they
Hmm.
got treated better. In my honest opinion,
Yeah.
because the place my mom worked at, she was doing things the nurses were supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
and she was getting paid more than the nurses were getting paid more than half. Like say if she was making $10 an hour, they were making $25 an hour,
Hmm.
and she was doing most of their work.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm like, well, if she's doing most of the work, she should be getting paid at least half the pay. Like, all right, so if a nurse makes $26 an hour and the CNA is doing it, they should make at least 15, 16 an hour, you know, if not more.
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
I just,
What part of Florida? I
I grew up
see.
in Gainesville.
Okay. Living, growing up here in Washington State, and except for the 20 years I played the Escape from Texas game. It took me 20 years to win, but I had finally escaped Texas. Um, and I came back to Washington. But I have family in Florida, and so I just assume that anyone that lives in Florida that has any family, they're my family. They have to be because each of us, each of them also had 6 kids or more. So there's a lot. I have a lot of family in
So,
Florida.
so believe it or not, my grandmother had 5 kids.
Mm.
There's my Uncle Howie, my dad. No, no, she had 6 kids. Yeah, you're right. My Uncle Howie, my dad, both my uncles, and my aunts, 2 of my aunts. So she had 6 kids. Just talking about it, I'm like, yeah, she had 6 kids. You know,
Yeah,
I, I'm the
it's.
I'm the second oldest out of all the grandkids, and there's a lot.
Mm.
There's a lot of grandkids. Um, I'm the second oldest. I'm the biggest grandkid.
Yeah.
I think I was the second grandchild born in Florida. My whole family's from New York.
Mm.
Like like the whole state. Like not just the city, but the state. Like Long Island, the city, upstate, all of New York. Like when my family says we're New Yorkers, like we are New Yorkers. I'm not, I'm Floridian. But like New
Yeah.
York's in my blood. but I was born in Florida, so I'm a Southern Yankee, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
from the
it does.
South, but my whole family's from New York, so I'm a Southern
Yeah,
Yankee.
yeah.
But
My
I
dad.
I have one brother, one sister. No, I have one brother and three sisters, but it's a touchy subject on that.
Yeah, right.
I'm close to my brother, and that's about it.
Yeah,
And it's not my choice. I didn't choose this. I'm close to my brother. You know, it took years of patching that relationship up. You know, I didn't ruin the other relationships with my sisters. They just, it is what it is. You can't control the outcome of life. You can't control what happens outside of what you can control.
yep.
So,
And you can't uh, assume that the way that it is now is the same way it's going to be in 5 or 10 years.
correct.
And and that was one thing I was going to remind myself: don't tell too many stories about how awesome your dad is. That was my number one rule. No more dad stories. But um to not judge people that are trying, don't judge them too harshly. You judge people
So I
that are
was,
harming kids. You judge the hell out of them
well, so,
every minute.
so, um, okay, so I was, all right, it's not, see, the thing is if I had my way, I would do in every state like they do in Florida. If you victimize a child in any, if you take a child's dignity in the state of Florida, you get life in prison. My thing is that should be everywhere in the United States, but it's not.
Mm.
Okay, in the state I live in, if you take a child's dignity, it's like a slap on the wrist, and I hate it.
Oh yeah, no, I think that there should
Okay,
be. I don't know who should be in charge of making of just drawing a new standard, because there are people that are still in prison that got caught with pot, you know, that and they've been in prison for like 20 years or something.
well,
And
if
then
you
there are people that are committing horrific crimes against children that are walking out in 5 months, and there's no standard.
I
And I
was locked up
know.
with a dude that this was 20 years ago, right? More than 20 years ago. Okay. So it's been, I'm 42 now. It's been 14 years since I've been in like trouble, like been arrested and thrown in jail. It's been 14 years. Knock on wood. Okay. Prior to that, I'm going back 24 years now. Okay. Man, I'm getting old. But
Mm,
I met this
you sure
dude.
don't look old, by the way. I finally saw you on that first live, and I was like, hey, I called my best friend in. I was like, this is the guy that I listen to all the time. And she's like, wow, he does look like a Viking. Yeah, he does. He really does.
So I'm actually getting my place set up. Once it's set up the way I want it set up, I'm gonna cam up more so you can actually see my face when I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
But until then, like if I cammed up right now, you'd see my refrigerator in my kitchen. You know, I'm like,
yeah,
I live
right.
in a 2 bedroom apartment. I'm hoping to get this house. I'm looking at a house in North Carolina, and I really hope I get to move into it. I really want to. Um, I'm from the South. I need a yard. I want to start a garden. I
Yeah.
used to work in a nursery. I
Oh,
used to
me
take care of
too.
I used to take care of plants and stuff like that and
Isn't it
trees.
the funnest?
Yeah, and I'm a retired professional painter.
Hmm.
Okay, I did that for 28 years.
So I bet
Uh,
you don't have to put the line of painter's tape and then paint the ceiling part and then take the painter's tape off and then wait for that to dry because now you have to put the painter's tape
so
on the ceiling part
the
and then paint
only
the wall part.
the only thing I use painter's tape for is if I'm not taking the doorknobs off the doors. Okay, and if I'm not taking the hinges off and I'm not taking the striker plate off and stuff like that. If I'm not removing those, I put tape around those because I don't want to see brush marks. I want everything to be uniform. So
I do.
that's
I learned how to do paint pouring. Have you heard of that?
yes.
Okay, so I was learning paint pouring during COVID, and I could barely even remember to just put a plastic sheet over a table. And then I'm pouring all this paint all over the place. And then I'm like, oh, that's okay because they were going to have to replace the carpet anyway. So, and I've got all these months for me to try to get that paint out of there. I just, I, I go for it. I am addicted to passion. And whatever it is that is my passion, I will have like 20 sets of it and all of these fails and I keep doing it until I understand that I am a failure at that. But it's really hard for me because I'm an Aries. So
When's your birthday?
April 3rd.
April 3rd?
Yep.
You're 12 days younger than me.
Oh.
Well, no, older than me. I'm the 15th.
Hmm.
So yes, I'm an Aries also.
Yeah, I found out I'm a people pleaser. I love my one of my very favorite jobs is to waitress, which is it's just great. To me, it's great all the way around. It only sucks when the managers walk by your table and take the tip and put it in their pocket every time they walk by your table. That sucks. But that's a me problem because I never tell them to stop. But anyway, um,
So
so I I am a people pleaser. I didn't believe that I was very typical Aries because I'm not fiery. I don't argue. I don't want to win. I don't want anyone watching me. No, I've changed. I've grown into my Aries nature, and I realized that if for me at any given time, you will find me wearing something very inappropriate. Like just completely why would she wear boots with that? Or like something just really weird. I would way rather just not try to follow people's rules because then I make my own rules and I always win like that. Every time. If I make the rules, I win. And so if I can't do it the way that other people do it, like cookie cutters, something other people do, I just didn't want it to look like theirs anyway. And it's true, I don't. And I will ruin all kinds of stuff by just refusing to follow instructions because I
so
have to put my twist into it.
with me, I don't follow the norm. Like
Yeah.
I'm different. Like I don't dress to impress. I dress comfortably. I'm 42 years old, and I still dress like I was 16, 15.
Sometimes I dress like a 7-year old that was allowed to get herself ready for school.
I don't
Just
care
me.
what people think of me. I am who I am.
Yeah.
You know, too many people put on a front. They tried to fit in. Nah, I'm
Yeah.
an
I can't.
outcast.
I
I
can't.
stand out like a sore thumb. I already stand out like a sore thumb. I'm 6'6", 370 pounds. I'm a big boy, so I already stand out. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's me going out and buying Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Prada or any of these name brand clothes that ain't gonna fit me much longer. The first time you clean them or wash them, they shrink. So it's not like, yeah, I just paid $500 for these pants and could only wear them one time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all set. Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not into that either. I
So
and I collect everything that I collect, plus I collect whatever you collect. If you've ever told me what you collect, I can't put a stopper on that. I am now picking up all of the things that you collect, and I just haven't had time to get them to you yet. And I know too many people, so I collect way too many things. But I love them, and then they're just waiting for their real owner. So that's why I do pretty well on eBay because,
we got a lot of Aries in chat.
oh, I'll have to go back and read the chat. And
So Curious Kitten is an
why would
Aries.
why would I want to listen to myself blah blah? I don't want to do that.
Who wants to listen to themselves talk?
Yeah, I go back and listen to the lives all the time, but I'm not on them. I can't stand my voice anyway. I sound like I'm bored all the time.
You know what's funny is other people
Wow, Vanessa.
love my voice.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know how.
yeah.
How?
Yeah, it's unique. Mine is not unique.
Thank
Mine
you. Thank you for
mine
sharing your story, Queen. Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, you had me in tears over here. Um, yeah, it was a waterfall over here hearing your story. And you know what? You're still alive to talk about it. That's what matters. And your kids still love you and they're still in your life and they saw how strong of a woman you are.
Yeah, but
Hopefully, they never have to go through what you went through.
and let me say really quickly because this was the thing I was going to say about Florida and family. My counselor is having me do a geneagram, which I think is insane for someone that has such a big family. But sh- she had me go back and ask my mom how she was raised and how then in Alaska they had a homestead. How were the bigger kids? Because I was the baby. How were the bigger kids raised? How is it that once it came to me, the system broke down. All the other kids were safe, being raised by a community. Everyone was safe until 1969 happened, and then all of a sudden, now I'm getting broken every time somebody sets me down. They forget where I was, and then I've got all these. How are people so creepy that they would do such horrible things? I don't know, but I was never gonna let my kids get sat down. Never, not 1 minute was I gonna let anybody watch them better than I did, and I wasn't gonna let them spend the night. And I was very, very protective, and they are very, very much in counseling. And
Especially
it,
hearing what you went through.
yeah,
Hearing what you went through. I can understand not wanting your kids around strangers or even if they weren't a stranger and they were friends of yours, but you don't know their kids that well.
yeah.
I can
Oh, yeah.
understand.
I was really careful
Yeah.
because we lived in a suburb of Dallas. I grew up kind of in the country. So I'm trying to, the point is that however your parents were raised, then they raised you the opposite, most likely. And then you raise them, your kids, the opposite of that. It goes like it switches the generations about, who is the loving one in the family? Is it the father or is it the mother? You know, um, just things like that. It's interesting to look at the family dynamic and how you don't realize how much it affects the way that you raise your kids. And now
Yes.
that I absolutely don't even have to think. I know that each of my 5 kids hung the moon. I don't know where all of the moons are, but they're up there somewhere. That
Yes.
all of them, they're wonderful kids. I gush on them all the time, and it drives them nuts because I put too much pressure on them. And I had no pressure on me. I'm like, why didn't you push me? I would have finished college if you
Yeah,
pushed
you know
me.
what's crazy is I was a high school dropout. And Brittany, yes, you have a wrench. Remember when you called me out the last live and you're like, hey, where's my wrench? Oh, sorry. Um, yeah, allegedly with Brittany J's in the house.
Hi, Britt.
Raw Man's in the house.
All right. Wow,
Lisa, thank you for the comment. Miss Arnold was in the house.
and Trista
Jennifer
Scott's
K.
still here.
Yeah, Trista Scott. Crafty Chris. Rowdy Girl. Or Rowdy? Or is it Rowdy? Hopefully I got it right.
And Rhett's mom. I
Yes.
remember.
So we got a lot of people in the house.
Rhodey.
Vanessa A. Rody is her name.
I,
Rody.
I'm gonna I'm just gonna suspect that because my dad's father's name was Roden and it was spelled just
Okay, Rody. All right. No, but back to what I was saying is
yeah.
I was a high school dropout, right? The highest level of education I got was ninth grade,
Hmm.
and moved down to Florida after 8 years of being away. No, I don't do horror movies, but so when I was 25, I got my GED without studying. Just took the test, passed it. Came
Mm-hmm.
back up here, got a college degree. Didn't think that would happen, but I have an associate's degree in business. So usually,
Yeah.
I take passion in when I hear people start a business. I try to give them guidance. Give them my knowledge that I have, and then I let them take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So,
I almost get hives when I hear that word business
oh,
because I have to own my own business and I have to not count the money or have to say number kind of things to IRS or anything like that. So, because I'll get confused. I hate
so
numbers. I
yeah,
hate
that's
numbers.
that's why I have a business major because I love numbers. And the thing is people who say they hate numbers, you deal with numbers every day and you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
When you
Well,
when
I
when
don't
you
know.
when you
Well,
wake up.
I only deal with the number 3 because I have an obsession. So
Okay,
it's the
so
3.
I'll break it down for you how you use numbers every day. Okay,
Okay.
the time you wake up,
Uh huh.
how many calories you eat,
Okay.
how many steps you take.
Okay.
Everything is a number, and people don't realize it. So I
So
tell
far, I don't
people,
have any of those rules.
you don't realize it. You don't think about it like the time of day it is. You don't think about it, but it's there.
Okay. I married a chemical engineer,
Ah,
so that
yeah, I'm good.
my kids would have my um compassion and my grasp of the English language and my language and art. They would have that side of me, and they would do math and science, from their dad. And amazingly, they are a combination of both. And my oldest son was teaching astrophysics. He took his college prep high school robotics team to the world robotics championship. See, I can't even say that.
Your
I
son did
like
this?
I Yeah, my oldest son, he was teaching after COVID, and they started going to school. He has a mechanical engineering degree, and they said, "Hey, we'll pay you more to come be a teacher." He's like,
So
"All
he
right."
became a teacher.
So he was a teacher for a while, only
Oh,
just because his wife was teaching in the middle school.
you don't teach anymore?
No, he went back. He went to like computer. I don't know what he does. He doesn't tell me because he was working for Google for a minute, doing the tracking, developing all of the tracking kind of stuff. And
Oh,
he said, I
let's not
could
talk about that
not.
on YouTube.
He said, I could not ethically. I could not help them with that.
All right,
I
let's
don't
not.
believe in it.
Queen. Let's
Mhm.
end. No more on YouTube with that. No more. No
I know.
more.
I
No
did.
more.
Hey, they were just words.
Yes,
No, I
words.
know. I know. I know. I know.
So I'm glad we got everything worked out and you were able to come up here and share your story.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
Thank you very much.
yes, and you probably feel a lot better.
Yeah, I do. I All day I was like, seriously, I am setting myself up to go up there and cry. Really? I was gonna be so embarrassed. I was embarrassed for my
Your
kids.
son was smart, though. Your son was smart. What you just said, he was smart, which is
Yeah,
good. But I appreciate you coming up here and sharing your story to everybody else.
thank you.
I really appreciate it because there's people out here that needed to hear what you went through because they've probably gone through the same thing you have and, you know, don't know anybody that's gone through what they've gone through.
It,
Now they
and
do.
and now and I promise this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I promise. I did want to say I'm a massage therapist, and I don't trust my own energy since COVID. But as a massage therapist, when you see someone that you massage in Walmart, you don't say, "Hey, hi, I remember massaging you." You just don't say that kind of thing. And I hope that people would trust that any really personal, tender kind of things that you guys say up here when you come up here with Eddie, that the people in his chat are very respectful, and they're not gonna say anything inappropriate if they see you in any other chat or anything. I think that there's a trust level there that
I doubt if somebody from my chat says that, that would be despicable.
yeah,
Okay,
that would be like
that
a
would be.
troll. That
Well,
wouldn't
not
be
only that, that would be inhuman. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That'd be somebody that doesn't have a heart or careless or doesn't care about anything at all what goes
Yeah.
on. But I doubt that would happen. I
Yeah.
doubt anybody here listening to your story would be like, oh, this, that, and the other thing in a negative way. You know?
Yeah, and I don't mind about my story. I don't mind about that. But I do know, like when Sassy was telling us about her neighborhood, then I saw her in two other chats, and I was like, "Sassy, how's everything going now?" But that was okay to share. Okay, that was all I was gonna say because I stopped talking like 5 minutes ago. I'm just on StreamYard delay. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye, Queen. Have a good
Thank you,
day.
Eddie. Good night, guys. I'll go down and chat.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not going to be on live much longer.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. So, I have a question to ask the community, even when this live ends and the chat is open after the live. I'm not going to go again. I'm not going to go live again until Sunday. I got a busy weekend ahead of me, but I want to ask you guys questions. Okay. I'm looking for other guests to come up and talk, but I also want ideas from the community if I should do, like say one live I talk specifically about one mental illness and what it does, like PTSD, manic, personality disorder, bipolar, and explain it in a scientific form, and if I can relate to it, break down how it's affected me. So think about it now and then comment on the post later and let me know what suggestions. And Queen of Hearts, thank you for coming up. It's fine. You're a chatterbox, okay? You know, you were talking and you were sharing what you've gone through, and who knows, there's somebody that's listening to this going through the exact same thing right now, and knowing that there's a way out. There is a way out. You know, I couldn't possibly fathom what you went through. I wish you didn't have to go through that. So, but if you ever need to talk, Queen of Hearts, you know where to find me. So, and I'm on Discord too, on Brit's Discord. So, but I'm gonna end this live here. But if you guys got any ideas on what else I should do instead of just having guests, I love having guests. Don't get me wrong. I love people coming up on panel and sharing their story also. So one of these days I'll get you to come up, Alma, after you message me on Discord and we talk and figure out, and I can help break things down for you. Yes, Nana X. I usually go live at 5 p.m. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. And if other days, because I could go live more than that, it's just, I'm just trying to figure out things. I don't want to go live and not have anything to talk about. Yeah, K-Bird, watch the replay. It's a pretty interesting live. We had technical difficulties at the beginning, but what else is new with social media and live streaming and everything else? So, the internet. And Britt, I need one of those shirts that says, "Hold please." I need one of those shirts. I need one. It's got to say allegedly with Brittany J on the chest piece, and then on the whole front of it, it says, "Hold please." Yeah. And it's amazing how you say it, Britt, with that southern accent. I can't repeat it, but it's amazing. I'll hear it. I'll hear it later on tonight when you go live. Okay, I'll do a community post. All right, I'll do that because I won't go live again until Sunday. So It'll give them the rest of the day today, and then Friday and Saturday to give me ideas. Because this is a community. So, alright, I am jumping off of here. Thank you guys for showing up and listening to the conversation. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. Until next time, thank you for joining All Things Serious. Peace out.